I'm Tom Noel with DallasNews.com. This is Jim Rossman. Thanks for stopping by.
Sure.
You know, we used to do the clapper to turn our lights on, but now we've got all sorts of other things.
We're getting high tech.
Home automation.
Home automation today. All right, so we have a couple of different things today. A couple of them are similar, right? So we're talking about being able to remotely control items in your house.
Okay.
That's also called the Internet of Things. I don't know if you've heard that term.
No, I haven't.
The Internet of Things means, you know, the inanimate things in your house and the way they connect to the internet, maybe that you're not exactly interfacing with directly.
Right, gotcha. All right, first thing is a hub. Let's take a look at that.
Is the Wink hub, and I've talked about this before. This is kind of the piece that everything talks through.
Gotcha.
Right, and it has its own app, and you know, different manufacturers have different standards for their home automation things, and Wink tries to bring all these standards together to make as much of the stuff work together as it can. Apple's kind of doing a similar thing with its HomeKit that's coming out, but Wink is trying to do it right now, and it's doing a pretty good job. So, you know, there's all kinds of different products that work with the Wink hub. When you get into the software, there's all these different things you can set up. You can actually scan the barcode if you buy a box with a bulb in it, and it'll take you to set up that kind of thing. So, and then it walks you through the setup wizard, and it's very simple to set these things up through the hub, and then you can control them all. So the first thing is the Lutron Caseta lamp module. And this is just basically, you can plug in 2 lamps to this thing, you plug it into the wall, and you'll notice that there's, you know, buttons on the module, but there's also a remote. And also that functionality is in the iPhone app as well.
Gotcha.
So, you know, there's all different kinds of ways you can control the lamps plugged into this guy, right? You can do the dimming. There's a button in the middle that has like a preset. It's set for 50%. There's also a version of this you can put in the wall in place of your regular light switches, right? That gives you the remote functionality and the Wi-Fi functionality in the light switches in your wall.
And finally, there's an appliance module as well.
There is. This is from Leviton, and this isn't a dimmer. This is just a pure on-off switch, but it is rated for 15 amps for like a 1/2 horsepower motor. You could plug in your Christmas lights to this, maybe a coffee maker, maybe a heater, you know, like a little space heater. So, you know,
what are you finding people using it for? Like you mentioned space heater. Are people like coffee makers, things like that?
Well, I mean, a lot of coffee makers have timers built in, but a lot of them don't. You know, like this was popular this last Christmas. A lot of people plug in their Christmas lights, and you know, they can turn them on and off from anywhere. All
right, so that's the first set of home automation. We now want to talk about an actual light bulb that we buy.
We've talked about Cree light bulbs before. You see them in Home Depot. They're inexpensive. They're really well done. And Cree's changed the design of their light bulbs now. They look more like a regular bulb. You notice it's got some venting, so that, you know, there's not a big metal heat sink anymore. They've just kind of opened up the bulb and made it so that it acts a lot cooler. And these are connected bulbs, and they also go through the Wink hub.
Gotcha.
You have to have a Wink hub to control it. But these bulbs, when you put them in, you can control them remotely. Turn them on and off, dim them, set them on a schedule, you know, control them from anywhere on the internet.
Now, I noticed a $15 price tag on those. That seems like a little cheaper than what
it is.
would
think. Well, Philips, you know, kind of pioneered this with their Hue light bulbs, which are still expensive. I think they're, you know, $40 a bulb still. And now these guys are down to $15 a bulb. You know, you can buy them at Home Depot. If you have a Wink hub, you can throw these all over your house, and you know, it's a great way to get into home automation a little cheaper. Okay,
let's take all the products that we just saw. What do you think overall? What do you think?
I like where this is going. You know, if you have a new house and you have a lot of can lights and, you know, sconces on the walls and stuff, this is a really cool thing to do.
Yeah.
With lamps, you know, that you actually physically have to turn on and off, you know, and there's wall switches, it can get a little dodgy as to knowing, you know, if somebody turns off the lamp, okay, then you can't control it from your phone anymore. Gotcha. So, I mean, there are things to take into consideration.
And on that note, I hear you have a funny story
I
to
do,
tell.
yeah. Was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I think so.
I was showing you this technology because I had it set up at my house. I was using it, and I was showing you how to turn the lights on and off from my phone.
Okay.
And I had it set up at my house, and I said, I'm probably freaking my wife out when I'm doing this. And it wasn't, 20 seconds later, my phone rings in my hand, and it's my wife asking me, are you turning on the lights at the house? So she was just getting home, and I was, you know, turning off the lights, and she was not ready for that yet.
I love it. Can you imagine, you know, sitting at home and all of a sudden the lights are going on and off, and it's so specific to where you can set the brightness as we can see on the screen right now. The app.
There's a lot you can set to automate, and it's incredible. And the different things in your house can actually start talking to each other. You can have a deadbolt that opens from a phone, and maybe you could say, when I open the deadbolt, I want to turn on the lights in 3 different places in my house, and you can group all that kind of stuff together with this app. It's really neat.
Of everything. All right, thanks so much, Jim, for stopping by. by.
No problem.
Home automation. Go check it out. Thank
Thanks.
you very much.